I'm Denise.
And I'm Ali.
And together we are DNA. Today we're going to do another Q&A session. Just deepening, getting to know us, who we are, what we're about, and for ourselves as well. So always a great pleasure to speak to you.
And you.
Ali Bell.
And you, Denise Borland.
Thank you. So, first question.
Should we do it question about this time?
Yes, let's do that. That gives me time. I can do some of this as well. Which you won't see if you're just listening, but glasses on, glasses off, glasses on, glasses off. So, will I go first?
Yes.
Always enjoy asking the questions. Ali, what is the question that you wish more people asked you? Or what is a question, Ali, what is a question that people don't ask you? No. Ali, what is the question you do wish people asked you that they never do? What do you wish people asked you more often? There we go. Ali, what is the question you wish people asked you more often?
I mean, just how are you? Basically.
Yeah.
I think sometimes if you're in used to being a helper, being in the helping role, it's people forget sometimes to reciprocate or even just check in. Mm-hmm. So,
or even think that that's an appropriate thing to
that maybe
ask.
That's not, maybe that wouldn't feel okay to be asked. It would.
Nice one. And Ali, how are you?
Good, thanks. Very nice. Heard. Denise, what's a question that you wish people asked you more often?
Well, hilariously, it's am I okay? And I think we've said okay a minute ago in yours as well, because we're TA based. I'm okay, you're okay, in that sort of pop culture version that's been zoomed. I don't mean Zoom like Zoom call, but has been morphed a bit. It's okay not to be okay. Yes, but the basis of transactional analysis is I'm okay, you're okay. We're both separate humans. We're both okay in each other's eyes. We have differences. We have different behaviours. We have different defence structures. We have different all of these things. However, on a fundamental level, we both breathe on this planet, and we're both okay. So that was just a wee tangent about okayness. And I think there's been a shift in the holistic framework that we set up. I have an army behind me. We have an army behind us, but it's a smaller resource, having moved, etc., than we had before. And it's a different framework. And I think things like ADHD are now very well known for masking. Performers are often ADHD and are good at performing and are good at presenting. It's part of what we can do very, very well. So it's extremely easy to get missed in that. Not just by other people, but by ourselves in that. And we check in with each other all the time, every day. However, it is something that I don't hear other people, and again, it could be roles, it could be because we have each other, then we present.
Presentation, what the performance aspect is clear and shiny, and that's not all of anyone ever. There's always more aspects to someone.
Correct, and that's how we want to be. We want to be clear and shiny to help welcome other people in. And there is always a balancing and an ethical balance to have when we're working with people around how okay are we actually, have we resourced enough, etc. However, on a fundamental person-to-person, day-to-day human level, are you okay would be nice. And of course I would probably jump to fine, I'm fine. In the past, I'm fine. Yes, all good. However, there are times when the presenting is more stressful, difficult. And I think that brings out our performers, us as artists. It's like keep asking the artists in your life how okay they are. Keep asking the neurodivergent people in their life how okay they are. Not in a you're not okay. Just how are you? It's probably a better way of putting it, because okay can be now so very complicated.
And can be a closed question. Yes. Are you okay? Yes or no?
Yes, I'm okay. No, I'm not okay.
Rather than how are you is a more an open question.
Yes.
I guess.
Nice.
More psychological education.
Cool. Are you spiritual?
Yes, not in a religious framework.
I'm smiling because...
Are you going to say the same?
Similar.
You can just say ditto or like add bits in. But not, I think in more recent years I can say yes to that question. I might have said no before. With the connotations that go along with the word spiritual. But I think I believe in more than just me on this earth. I believe in something bigger. I believe in nature and music, and Denise is like, oh, right, I'll ask the question first the next time. I
love that. I love when you say these things. It's just like, yes, like that. You know, I don't presume you're lying if we do them the other way around, just to make that clear. And there is a lovely moment of connection there for me, and just like, yeah, that's what's on my life. Anyway, I interrupt.
That's all right. So yes, is the blanket answer, and I make contact with that part of me by walking and being outside and singing and being with people and listening and talking and connecting. And I think a lot of people would maybe find it easier to class themselves as being spiritual if those options were more readily available.
Yeah, that makes sense. Once you open up what spirituality can be, then other people may be more spiritual than they think.
Yeah, and it's no judgment to anyone who is religiously spiritual.
No.
It's just that's not my framework. Do you want to answer the question, or will I just ask you the next question?
No, I'm going to answer. I'm going to add in a few bits. I am spiritual, more so than I was, more so every year that goes by. And I am not religious. And that took quite a while to work that out. I felt excluded, and if I wasn't religious, but there was something missing. And I think that all the things that you've mentioned already, music, nature, walking, all of these things, trees, all of these things added in until I was like, actually, no, I am pretty spiritual. And I think I've looked death in the eyes a couple of times, from the inside and from the outside, and that's changed my perspective each of these occasions. As to what's going on now. You could go, that's how your brain manages these difficult situations. However, that's how my brain manages these difficult situations,
and that's okay.
And I accept that. I think there's something about, there's so much more that I can see in the world now than maybe 30 years ago. That's because I'm older, and I've been through lots of life. However, I can't then go, well, I know I've seen it all now. I know it all now. This is it now. That's one of my reasons. Is like, if there's things that I couldn't see over then that I can see now, then how am I to know what I'm not seeing yet? and I can see more than I saw before. So what does that mean? It means the more we do the research, the more, it's not the more we know we don't know, it's just the more we know there's more out there.
Yeah.
And therefore, is that also the case? And I keep bringing that in and asking these questions. I think when it comes to energy, it's like we now know energy doesn't dissipate or disappear. Where does it go? What is where? And we're both energy workers, and we were before we even knew. Well, you knew more about energy work when I met you than I did. But the more energy work that I've done, the more that's opened me up to asking these questions. Always going to be asking why, where did it go? So yes, these are my extra thoughts. However, religion excluded on purpose me, and I think anything that excludes people, I struggle to understand how it has love at its core, and I know some very religious people who have love at their core. However, when the hierarchy, the structures are not inclusive and loving towards me, then I look for something else.
Right, I'm going to ask the next question. Denise,
Yes.
Do you believe in magic?
Yes. Whatever that means for you. I mean, I talk about portals, and you go through life events. We're going through a big, huge change in a life event en masse at the minute, and we've had several en masse shifts more recently. We always say you get the clients that you need when you need them to expand you more. That's a well-known psychotherapy. It's not just me making that up. It's well known in psychotherapeutic circles. Who are you going to get next then, or who you need next to meet. So why is that? No, we don't know. Just as a thing, it happens. So even on that basic, that level, we found each other. Out of 8 billion people, we found each other. Okay, Andrew helped because he introduced us. And however, that meeting, to me, on its own, is magic. Science and the world that we live in now is limited still as to what it understands. And I see little bits of magic every day. That again, you look at nature, you look at these different aspects. And you could call it manifesting, you could call it prayer, you could call it whatever you want to call it. However, people know that by setting a mindset towards something, that's an energy. Maybe this is also following on from the spirituality thing. It's kind of the same kind of thing for me. I think we lost a lot of the old ways about understanding how to work with all of that energy and magic stuff and spiritual stuff. It's all connected in for me. And I feel that the world is grappling and grabbing bits back. I think we're alchemists. I think we can tend to take things. It's what part of our brand is to take one thing and put it together, and wow, you make another thing. You take an idea for a song, and you take a bit of music, and you put them together, and wow, people are sitting listening to that. It's magic to me. Art is magic to me. It comes from the inside. Where does it come from? It comes from inside, and it comes from our experiences, and we put something together, we put an idea together, and we weave it together, we gather it, we spin it, and we get something else that isn't even what you envisaged in the first place, and is perfect. So on these levels, resonance, frequency, how we live our lives in that vibration, what bandwidth we're on, and bringing all of that openness to all of that has created magic connections and magic understanding, and continues to do so. Us being here is a piece of magic as well for me. What about you? Do you believe in magic?
Yes. I've always wanted to have some sort of magician type witch aspect of self since I was tiny. And I think I haven't quite got the magic wand or anything like that, but there is ritual and things that we do in our everyday that are linked with the symbolism of being a witch or a magician, creating potions, changing something from one thing to another thing. I mean, just take like cooking. You cook, you stir the pot.
Yes.
You're stirring your potion, and for me, when I cook, I have an intention of like putting goodness into the food and creating something from a loving place to share with other people. That kind of feels like a magic thing. I'm sure I can taste. Well. I'm sure I can taste food when it's not made with love.
When you're pissed off.
Like it's just different. But yeah, and I think it is linked with the question before, because there's more to my experience than I can logically understand or explain, and I'm a logical person. That's fine. I like to explain things, but I also am happy to go, I don't understand, but I accept this, whatever the thing is. Yes.
Nice.
Still working on the spell that will tidy the house without me having to do it, but I haven't found it.
That gives me the apprentice. Yes. Well, we will put that in for manifesting.
Yeah.
What in the world is going on?
I mean, probably could be a whole podcast on its own. I think we're in a huge period of dis-ease and change and power struggle madness, where there's a focus where actual, like, the baseline of people are not in the thinking. It's power grabs and money and the smallest percentage of powerful people making decisions for everybody, which doesn't feel helpful or like aligned. I think we go through cycles of things like this, but at this precise moment it feels hard to tolerate the level of, or the lack of care for the individual, for nature, for animals, for
planet.
Yeah, so I'd say it's a tricky time. That's very reductive. It's a really difficult time in the world. And within that, there is power and beauty and strength and community and wisdom being almost like forced out of people.
Yeah.
And I say that like all those are gifts, all those things, but the pressure upon people who maybe don't have the resource and the time or the energy, but still have to do it. It's like that moment where people are like, oh, you're so brave. It's just like, I literally have no other choice. It may look brave out there, it just feels like a necessity in here. And it's hard work.
Yeah, I think it's a time where it's difficult it's difficult to move without knowing that everybody in the world, everybody is going through big stuff and has been now for some considerable time. People are tired, they're exhausted, they want to withdraw and not have to keep stepping up and speaking up. And I think this era that we've just now entered is about finding your voice, speaking up. We can help you with that. And finding the resources around you in order to do that, and using your resources that you have in order to help propel society forward. It feels really futile, I think at times. I think people are kind of like, oh, it's the end of the world. Oh well, you know, fair enough, that's that. Then just do what we can to survive until we're not here. I find the whole genocide thing and the whole wars, and they're all over the place thing, have really pushed me to my limits of, you have to, where is that line? You spoke before about it, and I'll bring it in. But where is that line where you go, I can't sit down now and just watch the telly that's being funneled into my ether. I need to move forward and not just zone out. And zoning out is really important as well. Do you want to say more about your line?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Put you right on the spot.
It's in another podcast. It'll probably be more eloquently said back then. But it basically is, when is something bad enough for us to then go, okay, that's enough. I don't accept it. I'm not going to ignore. I think it's easy to have a strong opinion when something's personally impacting. It's easy to have a strong opinion and stand up against something if it's just really distasteful and also close to us. So on our street, down the street, in the same country as us, happening to people like us. But actually, where do we draw the line and go, this doesn't need to impact me directly to be impactful and wrong? When is something so intolerable because it is against people being who they are that we stand up and say, no, that's wrong, I stand against that? So there's something about finding a place where we fight the urge to go, well, it's not my problem. It is a problem, but it's not my problem.
It's life. There's always these things. It's like, I think we've going back to what's going on in the world. For a lot of people now, we're over that line. It's impacting people's mental health. We're feeling chronically ill with it, and out of sorts with it. And as I said before, futility is really, I'm not okay and you're not okay. Is the futile position in transaction analysis, which means we are in big trouble. You're not okay with me and I'm not okay with you. So I think there's that line for so many more has been crossed. It was a line that we crossed ages ago because of our sexual preferences, etc. And in that you're forced to out yourself at some level at some time and swim against the tide. We did it again with the work that we do. For a long time we swam against the tide. Everything's turning now. So there's lots of community, there's lots of leverage for people to go, no, we're over now, that's it, we're over it. But things like, making weapons and using them, and the money that entails, and Trident nuclear weapons in Scotland and things like that. Whilst people, I'm not in favour anyway, but people are literally cold, starving and hungry. And there's got to be a line where, for me, where we speak up because we can. And that turning point, I remember it. It was like, no, we're here, we have to speak up now. Because otherwise you're complicit with it. And that's the shift. Yeah. Good luck to us all, and remember, every single one of us, everybody we meet has gone through terrible things and is going through terrible things. And I think and compassion and love all around. And for the behaviours and defences that people are in. And if you're really comfy in this age and stage, I say it often, I'm here to make the uncomfortable feel cosy enough to keep going, and I'm here to make the people who are feeling really comfortable and don't know what I'm talking about really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Ask yourself how you're so comfortable.
How are you so cosy right now? Yes.
So, Denise, what's the worst piece of advice you were ever given?
Try harder. Try again. Did that work? No.
Was that helpful?
No. I got it at school all the time. She's really nice, she's really smiley, she's really communicative. I was quite sleepy on my desk half the time, so I was quite surprised by that sometimes. But I was a great communicator and I love that. But just needs to try harder. And that just about, it's a defence, trying hard. So imagine if it was easy. Imagine if it was actually easy. And I'm not saying people don't work hard or try hard. I just mean this real try again. Oh. Sometimes we need that to get through the portal to the next level. But my experience of it was you can't just keep doing the same thing, looping. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome. That is the definition of crazy. So from my school and onwards, try again was pretty rubbish advice. And also ask and you won't get. Ask and you won't get. How the hell do I get it?
Stupid.
How do I get it? How do I get my needs met? How do I get what I need? And these were I mean, people my age will know these really, really well, I would think.
People
not helpful.
Most ages will know these things. I'd say try differently.
Yes, thank you, I did. And you do and I do.
Because try harder is like, this is the hardest I can try. You still don't think I'm trying hard enough.
You still can't do maths.
What? Also, we've had this conversation before about your report cards at school, where it's just like, I really want to question the teaching style here, because you're literally saying that this person is bright and full of this and lovely and keen to learn. Well, you are not teaching the right way for this person.
Yes.
If any of your teachers are watching,
oops.
You're welcome. Look at
what
me
about
you? The worst piece of advice I was given was to not study singing because no one would take me seriously.
Oh. What other things were you up for learning? What was your other options?
I was going to do medicine for a while. So quite sciencey based, blah, 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 blah. But I ended up going to uni as first study clarinet rather than voice because I wouldn't no one takes you seriously as a singer. You're very rude.
I am back-fronted.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that sings more seriously than you. It's very serious singing, full of all the emotions, big singing, big emotions, very serious singing.
But yeah,
I get it.
That was a stinky piece of advice that didn't help me.
Well, was it bad really? Because you did it anyway.
Yeah, I had to work twice as hard because I was doing a clarinet as first study and also doing as much singing as I would have been if I was first study singing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was more tired.
Than you needed.
They're no regrets. Just like when you're a child, it's hard to trust your own intuition and not get like thrown off by people's like energy, strident advice. It's just like, well, they must know better than me.
And that question I forgot to ask is, what's the best piece of advice you've been given?
Don't wait. Like, it'll never be the exact right time.
Yeah.
So, like, quite challenging for perfectionism to go.
Yes. Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was you that told me that, and it was to do with like, when's the time to launch into going from being a practicing, rehearsing towards singing person to being I'm out there singing. And it was truly terrifying, but it was the step that was missing of all the work I'd done so far. Like,
do the actual thing, do it, and you'll learn on the go.
And yeah, like, nothing is ever finished or perfect or like the exact right time. There's never in my experience, like for me, my diary wouldn't just open up for the perfect thing to happen. It's like the perfect gig would happen when 1,000 other things were happening as well.
It's true.
So it's but it's kind of like saying yes rather than later.
Yeah. And I think for me, the question, the good intervention was, when you find your thing, you will fly. When you find your thing, you will fly, you will go for it. And that, I didn't have to try hard at singing. I had to do a lot of stuff around it and work at it, and then everything, of course, branched off singing, because when you've got the one thing, you go with it. Well, boy, a multi-passionate person, did we expand on that. However, it was a red light, a green light, that when I got something I was good at, or I got good responses to, I really went for it. Yeah. So, getting near the end of our questions, Ali Bell. What don't people generally know about you?
I don't know if there'll be anything after these podcasts come out.
That's so true. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of things. What do people generally not know about me? When I first did a personality test, which you answer loads of questions and then you get a sort of score of these different structures within a personality. Like, I'm not saying you have to take it completely as truth, but it's quite a good like way of going, I have some of this and maybe not as much of that. So I don't know, like, you could score up to about 8 or 9 in each category. So 8 or 9 meant you had quite a lot of that, and obviously less than that means less of that. Well, there's one part in this questionnaire that was the colloquial term for it was responsible workaholic. So like how much oomph to do stuff you've got. And the very first time I did this test, I got like a 1. Which would be like, how was I even bothered to fill in the questionnaire? Like, you've got so little get up and go. But in reality, when I did that, I was really doing a lot of stuff. But my core self was just like, I don't want to do anything. Not anything at all. No. What are we doing today? Nothing. Was that part. But the other parts were like, oh no, we've got this, and this to do. Yeah. It's quite funny.
It's very sweet. I don't think I'd ever met somebody with as low a responsibility.
That was awake anyway. What about you?
It may be blatantly obvious out there, but it wasn't to me. If I make a misstep, we used to call them mistakes in the olden days. Oh, the shame of them. Ouch. But if I make a misstep, I won't really let it go in myself until I've worked out what the learning is. Would that be true, do you think? I am like a dog with a bone until I know what the learning is. I don't want to keep looping because we've already spoken about all of that. And how can I not loop and take responsibility for what the mistake was, or the flurry of whatever happened, the ruptures or whatever happened. So what the heck went on there? So you needn't be worried that it didn't bother me, because I was haunted by it. Haunted until I worked out what it was that I could do differently, and before I could do that situation again. Yes, I think that may be blatantly obvious out there, because there's so many whys and so many answers and so many questions. However, for me, that I don't know if people would know that.
We'll see.
And I'm sure that a lot of people now are just like, who hate my guts, are now going, ha ha ha.
Yes.
Ha. But the learning is the learning, and that's the gift. That's the gift of any of these missteps. 3 things that you love.
You. I was actually going to say you before you pointed at yourself. I'm not changing my answer. My dog and my cat.
Oh, that's very sweet. I think I got this time. Yes, and yes would be the answers for me too, of course. Love you very much. And my pack. Shy face. And now mine just sound rubbish compared to yours.
They're not. I love loads of things.
I love stained glass windows.
Beautiful.
I love any stained glass. I find it so nearly magical. I love visuals. I love visual things. I know we talk about language a lot here, because that's what our training is a lot of. Language and body language and language and energy language and language. However, hearing and seeing things can change my energy. Flying geese bring me great joy, and hugs.
Oh, how cute.
And water. I am a water baby. I always was a water baby. Yep. So these things, beyond everything you of course have said already, thank you, or maybe expanding on what we've already said in our other podcasts.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
And we only did half the questions that were on our list today.
We did.
And we've got other ones. So we'll be back another week to ask more Q&As.
Another time.
And we hope that you will join us again. You can connect with us on Facebook.
Yes.
You can subscribe to YouTube.
Yes.
Noble House Scott.
Yes.
you can check out our website, noblehouse.scot. And other than that, you can find us here again.
Yes, we'll be back.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you for speaking to me.
Thank you.
We'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Come on.